Bronze rank 8, incredible. So today we're going to continue the little Whizbang mania that I was doing, where I was playing the old Whizbang, the new Whizbang, and then I was trying some other third deck. So we go in kind of a rotation where I play as each one until I lose. So that could constitute the whole episode because of how short these typically are, or we could always rotate back between them, like we go from one to the next, and then if we lose with all three, we can start again at the beginning. The third one's just there to try to use that Innkeeper card that I still haven't gotten the chance to use, but other than that, it's just kind of random. But we did enjoy the new Whizbang a little bit, where we tried some of the new decks with it, and my one suggestion for it to make it even better, because it does have a lot of variety, in fact I'll look through them, is that I would basically have wanted to do it in such a way that we get to mix it up even more. So for example, it is a very fun card, but oh, you can't actually see what it lets you use here though. What I would like it to do is, some of them are class specific, right? This deck has all cards from all classes and all spell schools. We use that concept for all of them. So for example, this is like a hunter deck, or one that we used was like the warlock deck, where it only has 20 cards, and that kind of synergizes with the discarding and the whatever, having no cards in your deck. But a lot of these shouldn't be restricted to classes. So like, whatever the concept is, you can have one version for each class. So imagine how much more variety that would give you. Like, this only has 20 cards, but there could be one of this for every single class. Now, it wouldn't work as well, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be good. So I would just take it, begin 3 quests, but instead of this, for everybody, not just shamans, right? So they're trying to make it too singular. Has 5 duels treasures, but again, everybody can have this, or a version of it. Some of them are very specific, so I can understand why they might be restricted to a particular class, but pretty much every class gets at least 1 or 2 fun ones. This is a great example of one that you could homogenize for all the classes. This deck is full of 2 copies of every legendary card, right? Why not have one of this that isn't just for hunter, but for every class? So you could potentially, rotate between whatever. Like, you wouldn't get to choose it obviously still, but it would randomly give you one time a hunter legendary, one time a every time you play. Then the next game you might get the same one, but with only mage legendary, stuff like that. Or I guess it wouldn't have to be only hunter cards still, right? It could give you 2 copies of a legendary card, but for whatever reason it wants you to play only as hunter with this. So that part I wouldn't do, but this is a very fun card, so we'll try that. And one thing I was just thinking about randomly, well, basically once we're done with this, we will move on. It's like we've been doing this sort of gimmick round robin deck thing. Like, I started with warrior, I went through warlock, I did priest at the beginning, underplayed class round robin. So we're checking off, we did druid for the whole anti-spell thing, which we would still do a little bit more, I guess, just to play that innkeeper card like I was talking about. And we did hunter for like Karnasa and stuff like that. So we pretty much have this side almost all done. Not that I was trying to do it like that, based on this order. We'll do like Death Knight and Demon Hunter last, and I might even try something a little meta with them for a change. I want to try that Headless Horseman thing, whatever, the first hero card that they got for Death Knight. So next we would probably do Shaman, then Paladin, then Mage, then maybe Rogue to camp off the underplayed round robin that I didn't do because it vanished right out of sight when I was trying to do Priest and Rogue, but then I completely forgot about Rogue and I didn't do it at all, which shows you how much I don't like those 2 classes anyway. But I can't even handle playing both of them without skipping one or trying to subvert it somehow. And then we'll end off with those 2, like the hero classes, effectively. But no, I was thinking about that in the context of the hero classes, like how much I meme on Mista Pandaria. Even though some people always tell me, oh, it wasn't such a bad expansion in terms of its content, the premise I always shit all over, and it's like it was an appeal to the Asian market, and it felt very contrived, and you kind of extrapolate the way people defend it. Oh, there was 1 panda unit in Warcraft 3, so therefore that justifies an entire continent and an entire expansion just based around that. Like, that's totally an ass pull overextension of it. But beyond that, if you think about the way this game treated the hero classes, right? The first one was Demon Hunter, so it's like, oh, they must be going backwards in time, so they'll go with the newest one in WoW, right, Demon Hunter at the time, and then go backwards to Monk, and then go backwards to Death Knight. But then they didn't do that. Then they skipped Monk and went to Death Knight. So it's like, oh, they could have, why didn't they start with the oldest one then? They would have started with Death Knight and then moved forward to Monk and then gone to Demon Hunter. So no matter which way they slice it, the real criteria was, let's say, fuck you to Monk and skip it because everybody hates that expansion, or at least the premise, and nobody likes monks, I guess. So we'll just somehow find a way. Whether we're going forwards, backwards, we won't do Monk because it just sucks. That seems to be the criteria that they use, at least. And so what we get to do here is we get to obviously fuck around with the Whizbang some more. So we'll be using the old one, which gives you obviously the standard decks. And that's what I always say too, is like, I would, if I almost want to try that in some hypothetical sense. We do like some duo type of thing where I get to see somebody live vicariously and play Hearthstone for the first time, right? The way I would introduce it to them would be with stuff like this, because it suits somebody like me now who doesn't play the game as much anymore, and even when I do, I don't use standard cards and decks, and I don't really care about that, and I'm not going to take the time to craft them and whatever. So it's good for me to just get a taste of that and to just have some variety of stuff that I'm playing. But also, if it was somebody playing the game for the first time ever, this is how I would show it to them. I would show them Whizbang, I would show them this, I would show them Renounced Darkness, Denazari, Explore and Goro, all those kind of fun things. And the only thing that would make them less fun is, I guess, the people you're going against are not going to be using such shitty decks, although at these ranks that you play, not really that. I don't know why they do this where they lock it. They should either keep the same one going until they decide to do the new one. What's the point in ever making it unplayable? But yeah, I would introduce the game to them with those kind of cards, and it would show the fun factor, because for me, that's always what Hearthstone will be remembered by. Like, no, it'll never be considered the most complex or nuanced or deep or whatever, you know, best kind of card game in those areas with, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, whatever else you want to say, but it will always have that fun factor the way it embraces that. And sure, you can make sort of fun zany decks in those games too, but this game sort of embraces it or does a lot of the work for you in that way too. Like, you go in with Renounced Darkness or something, and it's already making it super fun off the bat, and so it doesn't matter whether it's good or not, right? You're resigning yourself to the fact that it's not good, but then you still... Oh, what happens if you click on these? Oh, it still pretends you're like a druid. But why is it even saying you're a druid? He's not guaranteed to be that, right? That's just because that's what I chose to put it in. Like, I had a druid deck and then I was doing it. I've never really read all these descriptions, I don't think, either. Harness the power of nature to accelerate growth. And this is like the original concept maybe of, oh, this is what the class was supposed to be. But over time it becomes everybody can just do everything, right? So it doesn't mean that much anymore. Like, oh, hunters are about aggro decks. Also, they might have the best control deck in the meta now because everything just becomes so bloated and power creeped and whatever. Aggro feels like mid-range feels like control feels like just fuck you, quit the game, it'll take all day to play like one game, whatever they do with that, which happens with every game, to be fair, in terms of power creep. But no, that's how I would introduce it to somebody, or that's how I would remember it as somebody who, you know, has played the game since closed beta, is like, I'll remember those cards. That's the achievement of the game, that they have all these fun things and different, you know, very fun and interesting interactions, even if it's not the best or deepest or most complex or whatever in terms of other ones. And then again, I would also introduce it to somebody that way with respect to, so we'll let the old one hog the screen time, even though we're excited to keep seeing some of these new ones. But those are actually pretty good. Like the Warlock one was fun, where you get all these crazy, you know, you're discarding your own deck to try to get the chef who fills your board with the 6/6s and all these kind of ones that reward you for having no cards in your deck. Which again, a lot of these I haven't really ever played as anyway. Okay, meta warrior deck standard has to do with the max. I think we did get this one last time. We'll keep the 4 cost, even though people always clown me for some of my decisions to do that at times. Whatever. We can always coin it out turn 3, so we just need a turn 2 play. What it doesn't let you do, I don't think, is use the cosmetics, or maybe if you have it saved as your favorite. Like I have a different Garrosh as my favorite warrior one, then we get to automatically default to that, because we at least do get to play the card back. Maybe I should try that. I should use an alternate one as my favorite as every single class just to see if it does default to that, because I can't remember. Even as somebody who's used Whizbang a decent amount over the years, I feel like it doesn't do that. Right, the card back it doesn't care, but the class it might be the default one. Or maybe I just don't have as many of those kind of things as I thought. Now I get fucked by my 4 cost thing. Battle Cry, okay, there's nothing really to worry about there. The Pirate Warrior gets a taste of his own medicine. Right, his bad karma from all the times that you've used it, although I haven't really used it much. I used it more so as a meme, just because of how much people are getting pissed about it. But this will be pretty good for the AoE. Well, you'll kill pretty much everything, so it's fine. This one is, you have a +1 attack. This one is, after summoning, draw a card. It's hard to say which one's really better between that, but I guess I'll go for the higher attack value. What a perfect response. Like, I totally have built this deck to counter that, but obviously now we can just hit anything else and that one will still die. But I don't know if I'm going to have enough defensive stuff going on here. Doesn't that make like the least amount of sense though? A mech with lifesteal, like, it's a mech, dude. It doesn't work that way. It just, they wanted a boot like a la Kier design with that one. That's the one effect that a mech should never have, is lifesteal. Wait, this still isn't so bad, but then again, they knew what I could have done with this. I could hit this. The problem is here, I really just don't have a play. Right, that this would have been a good turn to recover, but I just can't do anything, so I'm screwed. Now they're going to get the initiative again. Of course, this is an intense bronze rank 10 matchup, but those can be the most fun because at least you're evenly matched, and there's much more variety than what you would get at the higher level, so that's the whole irony of it. This will end up saving me the card that I'm even talking trash about the whole design of it. But it might be worth it to ignore that because this is such a dangerous effect that it's going to do me more harm in the long run, even though the Divine Shield element would have been worth it to get rid of the other one. I think I'm fine with that because that 3-2 is going to have its limits, but you just have too many of the same things that you're getting here, so... But yeah, this will be a fun thing. I'll do this month at least, and then next month I'll move on to maybe Shaman, then Paladin, then Mage, then the, whatever, Rogue, then Demon Hunter, then Death Knight, something like that. And so we'll still keep fitting in these gimmick decks, which the Mage one is going to be pretty similar to this Druid one with the whole anti-spell element. Just some of my favorite decks with each of these over the years that I've either come up with or just played a lot, where they're kind of not very good even at the time, and they're even worse now, but I still enjoy them. That's the purpose of kind of what I'm doing with the series right now, at least. And then we'll see from there. So keep all three. Magnetic Taunt would be good, but whenever it takes damage, you summon a Taunt. But I mean, I can't afford to really do it, but I guess I just have to. Bucket of Bolts. Yeah, we're fighting for Whizbang's life here, so we can treat it on an episodic level. Like this Whizbang only gets one life for the episode, so if I lose this, I can't play as him anymore, and I have to move on to the other one, and then if I lose that, I have to move on to the, whatever, the Innkeeper, whatever, backup deck that we have, and then you, from there, you end up having to just either end the episode, or again, you could maybe rotate back if it's really a long episode, but I should put the onus like that, a little permadeath gauntlet round robin thing that I do with a lot of these, where I have like 2 or 3 decks that I'm playing between, and if I lose one, I have to move on to the next, so that's kind of fun to do. It's basically just seeing which version of Whizbang is better and will triumph. But no, let me make sure, well, I guess I won't be able to see it now, but I'll still change it for the cosmetic sake for even next time. Gotta be something I can do here. We already used enough AoE shit. Magnetic Taunt would be good, so we can have 2 taunts at least. Right, and so then we'd be able to say, okay, we'll hit the highest threat one here. So it'd be like, okay, I don't know. Then we get a taunt. Then we can also make this one into a taunt. Then we can also get a rush minion here. Then we can also play that. Then we can also kill, I mean, I don't know if I can worry about the draw. Like, they're just going to do whatever they want. So, mathematically, they might actually not have lethal here, but they probably still do in some other way. That was probably one of the best plays you could have done. Sometimes I move too fast because I feel bad for, like, roping or whatever. I don't feel like it should take that much time, but at least this, oh, this card was the lifesaver. They might have an AoE for it, but that was a godsend, the way they played into that. That might actually turn the whole thing around. I was even being all defeatist, like, oh, I'll change my cosmetic sniff for next time because I won't get to do it here. But in before, I'm not even going to know what a lot of these things are. Like, a lot of stuff I'm using, I might be seeing for the first time, and a lot of stuff they're using, they might be seeing for the, you know, I might be seeing for the first time. But a lot of these cards are old, so I don't really get it. I don't, this is supposed to be a standard deck, because even though we're playing it in Wild, right, so I don't really understand how this fits in. This is the old Whizbang, so this would be... Or am I somehow caught in some sort of time loop? No, it should be still one of the newer... Like, where it like, defaults it to when Whizbang was made, so it's one of the standard decks at that time. But I don't think so, because I've used it, I don't know. We'll do this and we'll execute. And so we can just last out, which I should be able to do. We'll be in good shape. Magnetic Rush doesn't really matter right now because, let me think about this. Combo's already done. Battle Cry's already done. But let's just execute that. We'll just kind of whittle these ones away. I guess we can't really do much with that, or maybe he'll flip it back to his hand, so maybe that was a mistake to leave alive. I wouldn't have any idea how dangerous some of these things are. I might actually win now, and I'm not really even saving this for turn 10. I just haven't had a appropriate time to play it. Oh, here we go, dude. Fuck. Of course. But I mean, you're almost out of cards, so like, what are you gonna do? They just do everything. Basically, I can't stop them from doing what they want. Okay. Like, that's kind of how this is gonna go. I'm not gonna be able to stop them from doing what they're doing because I can barely do what I'm trying to do. Oh my god. Just do whatever you want, dude. Fuck it. I mean, you're almost in fatigue mode too, but now you'll win because I just have nothing left. Yeah, I should have played around that by just having nothing in my hand or nothing in my deck. Like, what am I supposed to do? That didn't even have to do with that. It's like he had that anyway. Oh god. I did the best that I could, but... Oh, you couldn't even take that because... Wow. We at least survived it on the board, and I thought that was some big triumph that we were going to have a chance, but... in before this unavoidable, crazy win condition thing that... obviously, whatever we're using is not up to snuff. But I'm a little bit confused with the way that Whizbang is working, because... when you think about standard decks, it would be more like... you know, a current standard deck. That's even always what I say, because I'm so confused now, because it's supposed to be, I always say that, oh, you should be able to play it in standard, right, so that you can use standard decks in standard, but you always have to play it in wild because it's considered a wild card. But maybe they changed it at some point and I didn't realize, or maybe I'm just overthinking it. But this almost seems like a kind of card that would have been older. So maybe my whole prognostication with Whizbang is wrong. That, oh, it's a good way to try out the new expansion, but it's not, because you won't be able to use the new cards because it'll be giving you ones from the old. How could that be, though? I swear it worked the other way, too. That would be kind of a waste of the card, then, if it only is going to give you the same ones from the same old expansion, right, in which it came out. Let me actually look it up. Whizbang, whatever. The old one. How could I not know this interaction even when I'm using it? Whizbang the Wonderful is the old one. You started with one of Whizbang's amazing decks. It's from the Boomsday Project set, right? But last updated March 14, 2023. Notes: when Whizbang is added to a player's deck collection manager, he replaces the hero for that deck in the screen, removes all other cards from the deck, and renames it to Whizbang as Wonderful. When the player starts the game, their deck will be 1 of 20 current non-deck, non-classic deck recipes. Oh, it does say current, but I'm so confused by that. Using the standard hero, not necessarily your favorite hero, not necessarily. You will not be shown which of the classes decks you have. Okay, I won't read too much more beyond that, but I did want to do the favorite thing just to try that anyway. And even the wiki's not sure. It's saying, oh, it may be one, like it may be the favorite, but it may not be. So how the fuck do I know? And a lot of these I don't even have anything else either. Alright, that's fine. We'll just do it for the sake of it, though. Maybe next time. I think we got Priest like a couple times, actually, last time. I always get like the same thing over and over in a row. Okay, so a lot of them we wouldn't have the option anyway. The one thing we can certainly change, though, is the card back. Is there one that maybe fits with this whole... or actually, we should use that. Thank you for an incredible decade of escapades. Actually applies to me because I've actually played for a decade. So only people like that should deserve it. But I kind of split my collection too much over time in different accounts and stuff. Yeah, we lost is that. What was the other thing I was saying with that? Oh, like let's look then at the standard deck recipes. If we said, okay, we want to make a warrior deck, right? And so if we're able to do that, then we feel like some degenerate Jade idle shit here. It'll show me the deck recipes, and I don't understand it because what were we just looking at, and why is that a standard deck now? What does that have to do with anything? With like all the mechs and stuff. A lot of those cards are old, aren't they? Yeah, what? I think it's bugged out. That wasn't one of them. Right? What we just used from Whizbang was not a standard deck recipe. And it wasn't the one at the time either. So where the fuck is it pulling this stuff from? It wasn't the core one either. Right? This would be my assumption. This is how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be one of these. Have I been lied to about Whizbang all these years? This was not the one, right? Because it had to do with all mechs. What the fuck? It's even wrong then on the wiki. How does this make any sense? Okay, let me read it again. When Whizbang is added to a player's deck, he replaces that hero for the deck in the screen, removes all their cards. When they start a game, one of the 20 current non-classic deck recipes. It doesn't seem to be working that way though at all. Whizbang Hearthstone deck recipes. Whizbang, where can I find a list of the current Whizbang decks? They should just be the standard deck recipes. You can find them in game when making a new deck. 2 deck recipes are shown, but that's not the one, dude. We just saw like living proof of that, right? Unless I'm missing something. So it says 1 of 20, so that would mean obviously, or it could be more than that now, or it could just be that they didn't update it to work with. Now I'm almost curious to experiment with this. Mechs may explode. See, this is a mech deck, but it's not the same one, right? I don't know. I guess we'll have to mull over that in the future. Or maybe this is somehow it and I got some of the other mechs from some different thing, but I don't think it was. Like what? It'd be considered too strong? They're like, oh, we can't use actually one of the recipes or I'll get to Legend again with it, like with the Imp one. Even though I, was doing that manually. Whatever. But maybe they somehow ruined it or it somehow bugged out or they never updated it to match with the new, because like yes I'm playing it in wild but you can't use it in standard anyway, so that wouldn't have anything to do with it either, right? Like, oh my god, it's frozen now. Talk too much shit about the game and it actually bugs out. Like what if I make a standard deck with Whizbang, right? Like, okay, so we'll go warrior, we'll go here, we'll convert to standard, right, and then try it there. Maybe this is something I'm also not aware of. You really should be able to, right? But this will be the other one, experimental decks. Okay, so I'll have to go back, go to wild, or I would use it in twist if it allowed you to, which I can't remember if it did actually that one time in the twist mode. Maybe I was trying to do it when I was doing it like before New Year's. It might have been actually, and then you would have a better chance there than you would to use it at least in wild. Okay. So, one of Whizbang's wonderful decks. It just feels like it's caught in sort of a time loop. Like, let me look it up once more. Whizbang work with new expansion, the wonderful. Whizbang decks are updated in wild. Starting, too bad the decks are outdated and garbage from years ago. This was 2 months ago. Starting in 28.6, Whizbang is wonderful will temporarily function in the same way he did at launch. He'll be reverted in a major patch after the fast forward twist season ends. The Whizbang has been given the same decks when he released, regardless of future buffs nerfs. Kind of shitty of them to disable Whizbang a month in advance. He won't be playable in twist until March 14th. Going for 7 years, and the shit you see in wild now would actually make players something. What happened to OG Whizbang? So maybe this is something recently they changed. After reveal of new Whizbang, I returned to the game and played 2 games with the old one. For some reason, I was given 2 druid decks that are not in the current set. It has to do with the upcoming twist season. Oh my god. Has played rogue and given something old. Whizbang doesn't use the new expansion decks. More than likely, probably hasn't been updated yet. I don't fucking know how it works. Whatever. I even just said that, didn't I? Like when I was doing that New Year's one, I thought And I'm pretty sure it was using new ones, but whatever. We'll just go with whatever they fucking decide to give us. Imagine if we get cucked like that. Like, oh, just this month only, we get, you know, he's going to go back to that for some inexplicable reason. You fuck over Whizbang in its own expansion, and then this is the one that's going to have the treasures in it. Like, you fuck over Whizbang in its own expansion, so the one time I choose to use it now, right, I'm going to get screwed over by the fact that, oh, it's making me use the older decks that are going to be even worse than the standard ones that would be present now. So I'll have a bias towards this other Whizbang because that one's just going to lose every game if it's forced to deal with that. Draw a minion. If it's a pirate, get a coin. Get a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand into yours. It costs 3 less. Let's just try that, I guess. 0 cost, Divine Shield, okay. Draw a minion, may as well just go all in. Minion tries, fine. Your next card this turn costs 3 less. What is minion tries again? You got a 1/1 copy of this. The whole keyword of this expansion, obviously. But they already miniaturized the old Whizbang. That's what I'm so pissed about, that they kind of ruined it. If you have a weapon equipped, deal 2. Why don't we do it like this then? Now we'll have the weapon ready for next turn. You would think I would like rogues or priests actually more, that they sort of do what I sometimes like, oh, this randomness that you get other classes cards, and you know, like now we get this sort of as a fun interaction, but somehow it feels like halfway. It doesn't do it enough. If you're gonna do it, like just hard commit and give me renounce or something. Otherwise, don't. It's just weird to take them seriously. Deal 2, and then what is this? Discover copy a card your opponent played this game. I don't think it's necessarily time to do that. Or maybe I should have done something else. I don't know. Or I should just do it, though, because it's going to be play 3 different 1-cost cards, equip a Light's Justice. Really? That's... What the fuck? I mean, I guess it's no surprise, but like, that's kind of an underwhelming reward, but it's going to turn into something later that I probably won't be able to do. Play 3 different 1-cost cards, upgrade your hero power, which again, in the case of a rogue, isn't even that good of an upgrade. But no, I'm so confused by what they did to Whizbang there, which is totally unnecessary. I love these unnecessary changes. Like, who even cares about the old Whizbang except for someone like me? It's so dumb. ETC's Blacklist. This card cannot be put into ETC's sideboard manager, obviously, because then it would override the whole thing, or it just wouldn't work. Whizbang is added to the deck. There's got to be some recent change that they made, but I'm not seeing it. Added. They don't even show that. Retrieved. Golden Whizbang. Make a golden deck. I have no idea why they do. Like, why do they ruin these sort of fun cards? Like, Renounced Darkness was bugged out in the Twist mode when I tried to use it, because it kept giving me Demon Hunter and Death Knight, and you weren't allowed to use them or whatever. And so, who the fuck knows? This 10th anniversary thing sure is good looking, huh? But you can barely even see it. The whole thing that always triggers me with how they put the card backs. This guy's getting triggered and beaten by a shitty fucking whatever gimmick deck here. Although some of these aren't that bad. Summon a copy of friendly minion, give it taunt. Summon copies of 2 beasts we're not going to have. Give all minions to hand +1/+1. Let's do that one. Just for the fuck of it. I do actually like that hero a lot, though. The Headless Horseman Uther thing. I forget how you even get it. That almost should be a Death Knight one now, though, since they fucking made the Death Knight one of your heroes, obviously. The hero card for that. For Demon Hunter. Your next card this turn costs 3 less. Summon a copy of a thing. Return a friendly minion to your hand. I mean, that's fine, I guess. Or maybe I should have thought about that a little more deeply, but we're trolling him with his own little stupid quest. That probably won't be very useful to me. Play 3 1-cost cards, you upgrade your hero power. Like, we are going to have a decent number of 1-cost cards. We're probably just going to win here without him even being able to do anything. at least the old Whizbang won't hog all the screen time then, but the one that we got there genuinely seemed to be like those cards were from the Boomsday Project, or at least some older one, so I'm pretty confused about it. But I feel like we played it just last time, and it worked properly because of the priest. We got like a pretty good priest one, I thought. Or maybe that was something with this one. I can't even remember now. Like the one with the automatons, 7 autonomous, whatever. Astral automaton. This guy's even role-playing like he wants to be a Death Knight, right? I think that's one of the Death Knight card backs, except I can't tell because it's fucking cut off, but it is. We should have had to kill him with the stupid Lights Justice thing just to troll. In fact, I think I could have, right? I had... Oh, shit. I could have. Because I could have played the other weapon, then done that, and then gotten it. And then played it. That would have been a dream come true troll combo. Yeah, even in the description, it doesn't specify it too well. It just says use one of Whizbang's wonderful decks, but you don't even know what that means anymore. That one definitely seemed old at the very least.
I will fight with honor.
Yeah, this is fine. You get rid of all that. But what is this one even supposed to be then, I wonder? It's like a mix of... Yeah, that's the thing. I won't even necessarily know. Or it does show you with this one. At least the Whizbang's present, right? Yeah, the other one won't acknowledge that Whizbang gave you anything. Deck is heroic. I don't know really what that means even. I don't think we've seen this one. Divine Shield Lifesteal, your healing is doubled. Like it has a random mage card in here, so it'll just have like a lot of heroes from different classes maybe. Which is fun, but a lot of them, I mean, unless they have a good battle cry, like a lot of them have more permanent effects, so you'll just override one with another. Or it'll have a lot of the, I don't know what it is. It'll have all those cards that it shows on there, I guess. Give a minion Divine Shield, draw a card. Okay. Deck has no duplicates. I don't know how well that's going to work in here, though, because it probably will have duplicates. But we got lucky with something the other day where I kept getting no duplicates, like with Renounce or something. Give a minion, Divine Shield, draw a card. I guess we should just undo the Divine Shield then. Fuck. Just because there's no sense not doing anything. But these decks are at least going to be a little better than what you might think. Like that Warlock one was pretty sick, actually. Sure, it's kind of a thing that can burn out pretty quickly, but you know, you run out of cards because you only have 20, and a lot of your cards are just discarding stuff from your deck. And so now you'll get a lot of those crazy effects super early on. So it's turn 5, and I'm already like doing these crazy 15-15, whatever, the darkness type thing. +2/+1, okay. Not really getting anything that I can actually play here. We can finally call him his proper title, Elusive. My favorite card in the history of the game. Not really, but because it introduced the effect that's like my favorite effect in the history of all of card gaming, kind of hexproof equivalent. But just, obviously, at that point in the game, there were very few cards with that in there. This dude's either a bot or using some really shitty deck, or both.
For justice.
Although you could always say the same thing with me too, because a lot of the decks I use are unbelievably bad. But then I realized like it's not that hard to make like a really legend caliber meta deck, because like you look at it and it's, even if you were playing the game for the first time, it only costs like 4,000 or 5,000 dust sometimes to make like a legend caliber aggro deck. So you could just do that, right? 4 or 5k dust isn't that hard to get. And then you at least have one deck that's kind of competitive. Shit, we actually do get that. Unfortunately, we might just have to do that because we have nothing going on. Okay, so we have a lot of random cards that don't have any real theme to them. Like, what is heroic about this? Or what is heroic about anything else here? Just like everything to do with Reno, I guess, and all these other characters from that set. If your deck has no duplicates, discover an upgraded hero power. Okay, fine. Deck has no duplicates. You could have done something maybe better there. what would be the most fun thing to do here? This one's kind of always pretty boring. I'm a totem of your choice. I guess I'll go with that. Oh, discover dragon. Summon a dragon rider. Onexia would be good.
For justice.
Yeah, these create all kind of fun dynamics to them too. The only problem is you'll end up getting the same ones then over and over time, because it's like, you know, there's going to be only so many, even if there's a good variety. So that's why I say they should expand it further by making it all these ones work between every class too. Like, even if the theme of this one is, I don't know what the theme, like, it's just to do with Reno Jackson and stuff. So instead of being a paladin, you should be able to be anybody, and it'll still give you the same general theme, but then with other kind of class cards mixed in there. Which you could say, oh, it already has that, but you know what I mean? Like, it starts with the base of other cards. So this will be dealing 10, which may or may not kill everything. Or I should have hit this first, or no, is it only through minions? Yeah, that's fine. So it was a guaranteed. This is pretty good. We're gonna have some pretty good endgame stuff here. What is this thing? You cast a random spell. Okay. Doesn't seem like we probably have the upper hand here, mainly because the deck is so shitty. Yeah, this was the ultimate Whizbang confusion episode. I almost want to, you know what I'll do? I'll just play as him, but I won't count it. Like, I won't even play. I'll just go in just to see. Well, that kind of taints the whole thing, but just for my own curiosity, I just want to see what the fuck you would even get with it, though. That's so lame. Like, why do they confuse these things so much? Like, is it a bug? Is it some weird design decision that they had no reason to make? Is it just me not knowing how the game works? But also, you can clearly see that it wasn't one of those deck recipes, so it makes no fucking sense why they would do that. And it doesn't show up in the patch notes either. Okay, this should be a pretty easy win, so we'll get another one at least with this. I don't know. Let's just do this one. Nazdormu, just the fun of it. But no, I always pose the non-consensual Nazdormu idea. There should be one that's like, when you start the game, if your deck has only, whatever, 5 cost cards or less, then both players have only 15 seconds to take their turns, and it's non-consensual to the extent that it doesn't matter whether they have the other one in their, you know, there's one that you can have where if both players have it, the whole game, both players have only 15 seconds, but there should be a way to force it, even if you have to pay a price by, like, your deck having some limitation or restriction or fault to it. Right, I would love that as a thing, or maybe there'll be a twist mode like that, or maybe there'll be a, you know, there have been like tavern brawls like that before, but so in other words, every turn, every second, every game will be 15 seconds. It's just you'll be forcing your opponent to deal with that. And you might think, oh, that's too unfair and it favors aggro decks and stuff, but yeah, that would have destroyed Grim Patron right there. But obviously the point is that you would basically, oh, we should do that with some style. The point is that you would have to pay some major price for it, or maybe in this day and age it wouldn't even feel that busted of a thing, but that is a very fun idea for a format or a card, just like a non-consensual Nazdormu. So just out of my own curiosity, it's like I don't really want to do it, but so I'm not going to actually play the game, I'll just concede, although that kind of hurts the win streak integrity of this. Let's do one more with this, and then I'll do, I don't know if I can. I don't want to wait a week just to figure out how the card fucking works, because nobody seems to have an answer. They're coming up with all these theories on Reddit. Always count on Blizzard to ruin the most fun things and fun cards. Again, it's not going to be that good, even if you could use standard decks, but you got to destroy Whizbang like this in his own expansion.
Your soul shall be mine. This
Deal 3 damage to a minion. This costs 1. Make a minion go dormant for 2 turns. Okay. What is really the theme of this deck even? It just seems like a normal thing. Demon Hunters are also one of my least favorite classes, but I usually don't hold it against them too much because, you know, they were relatively new at least. Contains 3 wishes to give you the perfect card. I kept calling that a hunter deck. Again, what does that have to do with being a demon hunter? Why couldn't that be for any class? But because of the color of it, I was even questioning that. Like, why did they even put the color on there? Because these things aren't really class specific. It could be anybody, but, you know, obviously, for whatever reason, they want to make it specific like this. Like, what does a genie have to do with being a demon hunter? Nothing. They should show the skull of Gul'dan. Then it's like the skull is somehow magically granting you 3 wishes. Okay, what is this? Dormant for 2 turns. When dormant, deal 3 damage to enemies at the end of your turn. Nothing to really play though. This is why I hate demon hunters. Like, all their shit is just kind of suboptimal. You just kind of do shit and rely on the card draw or the power creep or something to make it up for you, like the outcast and stuff, but you always are just gonna burn through your hand and have it be empty and just use it on nothing. Like, just use this on their face is apparently what you're supposed to do. Make a minion go dormant. There's really no point. We'll just do that to the face, like I said. Next demon you play costs 2 less, but there's really nothing too special here. Magtheridon unreleased. Yeah, this I would have 2 reasons to have not seen a lot of these cards. Some because they're just newer and I don't always use newer cards, but also because it's a Demon Hunter and I just don't play Demon Hunters, period. Ball Hog, or like Russell Westbrook, am I right? Rattle Cry, Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to the lowest health enemy. Deal 3 to the lowest health enemy. I don't know if I even want to do that. That'll be useful later on, I guess. This does have a pretty good effect to it. 6 mana, 12/12. And it has a good effect even while you wait. Like, what's the downside? As you often ask about a lot of new power creep-ish cards.
The Queen's trove is forbidden.
Doesn't this music, like, not match the background? And he tries discover a demon, set its stats and cost to this minions. That seems good.
That toy was made just
What was
for
that?
me.
Or it was showing you like what? Wait, what? Window shopper, discover a demon. Wait, you get another one. Oh, that's the minion tries, obviously. Deal 10, taunt. Yeah, let's go for this whole dormant thing. That'll be a good, fun theme for a deck that I could make. Like,
I'm the perfect toy for you.
oh shit! Yeah, like get all the dormant cards in one deck that you can fit, but there might not be really enough. For once, I'm not the only one who's falling asleep in my Hearthstone episodes, like how I'm always half asleep when I'm playing this game in particular, because I always play it on Sunday, and usually Sunday is like a day where I don't have time, so I come in late and I like am half asleep when I'm playing every time. At least I have yet to actually fall asleep during the course of an episode, but my little joke, like, ever seen somebody half asleep play Hearthstone? Oh right, it's 2023. That was one of my ones for last year, but it really wasn't the game's fault. But also it's to my credit that I always make it so fun. Your feeble AoEs have no effect on my dormant shit. But it is a 1/1, so that didn't end up really working too well. 6/5. Want to do this for the whole dormant gimmick, I guess. Make a minion go dormant for 2 turns. But that is kind of what this deck is even emphasizing, but I don't even mean it like this. I just mean like what other minions have dormant, period, in the game, and I would just have like all of them. Like, even the darkness had that, right, from back in the day. He'd be dormant until you draw the candles. So it's not like it was a newer mechanic, but the Demon Hunter just has so many of them. Okay, so we'll do this one, then maybe I'll look at Whizbang once just to test it, because it'll drive me crazy over the next week until I play again. So I'll just see like what he gives me and see how that makes sense as its deck recipe. So I'll just resign too. Not like it costs us any of our precious rating or something, because we're at bronze anyway. We kind of started this one abruptly though, right? Or no, I started this one early. I was gonna wonder, like, why was I bronze rank 8 already? Like, we just started playing as Whizbang. But draw a demon, reduces cost by 2. Okay.
My mana is too low.
This game is similar to PvZ Heroes in that sense, that a lot of the ideas for cards will just be some dumb gimmick joke, like a pun, and that's it. Oh, it's a Quillbore, so it's a hog in a different sense. Like, I don't know. That informs their design more than actual, like, good ideas for cards. Like, let's just come up with some stupid joke or pun and use that. Not something that actually has any other sense of presence in the world or whatever. Yeah, that was fine, I guess, but you do dormant again, but we're kind of getting low. But whatever. Self for 1 turn, hero has +2 attack. No reason to, or I mean, I can make them go dormant for what it's worth. I wasn't really thinking about using it that way. But I guess it doesn't matter, that wouldn't have helped me. When this awakens, deal 10 damage, randomly split. I mean, it could be useful that way too, but you know what I mean? Like, why would you want to cuck your own stuff here? We have a chance. Whether we win or lose, I'll just look at one there. I won't even play it though. For a random enemy minion, okay, we could make that one go dormant, I guess, too. I'm certainly not going to use it on my own stuff. You do this after your minion attacks an enemy, attacks it too, so you can obviously hit him in the face. So just make that go dormant. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Deal 4 to all minions. Or actually, I could... No, I don't want to do it, though. I just want to do this, put some pressure on him. I guess you may as well just do that because there's nothing else to do anyway. Now we're going to lose to that fucking dinky 3-3 that we committed so much effort to. But that is a pretty good thing for only 1 cost. Yeah, the theme of this deck isn't really too fun, even though it makes me want to make it. Like, I'll look up how many things actually have dormant that you could use with 1 class, that you could make a deck just based all around that. That's almost what I tried to do with Stealth for a Demon Hunter. It has nothing to do really with it, but I just said, let's just make a Demon Hunter deck with every Stealth minion in the game. And, like, there was no other theme to it than that, so it wasn't good at all. It was worse than even my other gimmick decks that I make, because it's, you could do that, like, with any class. If anything, it would make more sense with the Rogue, but... You know, there weren't that many stealth minions in the game, period, at that point. Which there probably still aren't, really, but... Okay, that's fine, I guess. This would be enough to still save me. Or even this is going to be fine. If you just do this, then you do... You should almost be able to just kill him if you could just get through that. Run enemy with taunt. Then hit him in the face. Look at this epic play. 16, 17 because of my 1. What a perfect lethal too. Honorable kill. Of course, that was the whole theme of the deck. I was even forgetting what it was. You just get the, little thing that wishes for a perfect card. But again, what does that have to do with Demon Hunter? And what does that have to do with the rest of the deck? So even though it is a fun thing. But this one doesn't count, and I'm not even going to play it. I just want to see what we get just to show what kind of weird design they've done with Whizbang. I guess I could look back at my own New Year's episode just to see, like, that must have been something recent. Right, because we did pretty well with that. We went on a pretty good win streak. So they have to ruin everything. Like, what would have caused them to want to do this? So it's a rogue deck with what cards in it? It has Van Cleef. It has this. Like, this is from whatever. Some super old expansion. Whatever that icon is. So let's see if Vile Spine Slayer is in a current rogue deck recipe. Which I can guarantee you it's not. So I'm super confused what the fuck they did here. It's not that this still couldn't be fun to do, but it makes no sense what they're doing. What does it have to do with the twist mode either? Like, I'm just playing it in wild. They're saying like, oh, it's because of some upcoming twist thing. Let's see. How would a Vile Spine whatever be in this modern current rogue recipe? Okay, we can get rid of this one because it's the same thing. I can guarantee you it's not, and I don't know how they're determining this. It's not that one, obviously. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be this one. That's so stupid. Like, what fucking sense does that make, man? They ruin everything. What the fuck deck am I using? That must have been the one that was present, like, in the Boomsday one itself. Let me look it up once more, I guess. We'll just see, Whizbang. The wonderful using old decks. Whizbang the Wonderful still using old decks. Bug report. This is from 2021. I've been testing Whizbang lately and can confirm that it is not working properly. The problem has been going on since the previous expansion Stormwind, but this was in 2021. Whizbang gives previous decks. This is from April 23. That's because Whizbang gives you a deck recipe from Standard, not necessarily only from the newest expansion. Unless you're saying from Standard. Wait a second. What does that even mean, though? Oh, so like from the last 2 years. Oh, that makes it more fun if it widens the thing, but even that doesn't make sense. So what deck? I'm so confused. Like, that Boomsday project is not within Standard, though. Like, so how does that make sense? Like, the Vile Spine, whatever, right? Vile Spine Slayer would not have been in any Standard deck in the last 2 years, right? Because it's a super old card. So even that explanation isn't satisfactory because it'll say Journey to Ungoro. Journey to Ungoro came out in fucking, right, like way in 2017. So that doesn't even fit with that either. It was last updated in November 2022. In what way? It doesn't even say. November 29, 2022. So what happened? They fucked over Whizbang, apparently. What would that have had to do with Vile Spine Slayer? It doesn't even tell you. Whatever. So basically, the old Whizbang could be a little bit fucked up in some way that I don't know. Even if it says, like... I love that. Yeah, even that explanation isn't adequate because it's like, oh, well, it could be any Standard deck in the last 2 years. But I guess even since it's wild, maybe it could just be any Standard deck ever in the history of the game. And that would be fun, too. Right, my complaint isn't even that, oh, I want to use a newer Standard deck. Right, I prefer to use all these shitty ones, but I just want to understand how it works now because it seems to be completely different than before.